Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. So my name is Katrina Jackson. I'm a Maryland-based content creator. So we're really excited to talk with you all today about our upcoming short film titled A-Rom-Com, which depicts a platonic meet-cute between two characters on the aromantic and asexual spectrums, and won the Spring 2024 New York Screenwriting Award for Best LGBTQIA+ short screenplay. And so that I know who all we have here, it would be great if you could post in the chat where you are located and how you heard about this event, because I share this event in a whole bunch of different places. So it'd be great to know which ones resulted in people actually coming. So yeah, post in the chat where you're located and how you heard about this event. So how this event is going to work is we're going to walk you all through our Aromcom pitch deck, and we're going to talk a bit about our Seed&Spark crowdfunding campaign that we launched this weekend. And we're going to introduce you to some members of our filmmaking team. And we'd love for all of you to ask us your questions in the chat, and we'll take a break in the middle of our presentation to answer some of your questions, and then we'll answer as many of your questions as possible at the end. So whenever you have a question, feel free to just pop in the chat, and we'll be taking time to answer those. And if you have any questions specifically about the aromantic and asexual spectrums, there are probably a lot of people here in the chat who can answer you. So if you see a question in the chat that you yourself can answer, feel free to answer that. All right. Looking through where people are saying they're from. Yeah, we've got some New York from the meetup there, the meetup in DC, Central Massachusetts. Great. From Instagram, Toronto, Champaign, Illinois. Cool. So we have people from all across the country here. Chile, great. So all across the country and other countries. Australia, nice. Okay, cool. So our film is fiscally sponsored by From the Heart Productions, which is a nonprofit dedicated to helping independent filmmakers with unique films that make a contribution to society get their films funded. We have here from the Heart Productions, we have Carole Joyce is here with us today, and then a few other team members that we have here today. We have Catherine, our producer, Maddie, our cinematographer. I think we have in the chat, or I think we have joining us a couple people from our cast. We've got Elena and Ziaire. We'll give them a chance to introduce themselves later on in the presentation. So let's see, I'm gonna get started here with a quick little video. Pulling it up now. So this is the opening of our pitch video.
Adam's in love with you.
No, we're just friends.
He's not into me.
I had a crush on you.
No, you didn't.
I do not like Amy.
It's literally just another silly crush.
It's not a crush.
What if there were characters who, when they denied they have romantic feelings toward each other, they actually meant it?
I think she has a crush.
I do not. I just think you're ridiculously cool and like awesome, and that we should totally be friends.
So we can go back now to the slides, Catherine.
Give me just a second, Katrina. I'm having a little technical glitch.
Sure. All right. So while she's getting the slides pulled up, let me talk to you a little bit more about our film. So as you probably know, the aromantic and asexual spectrums are among the least represented queer identities. And for those who don't experience much romantic or sexual attraction, some might feel kind of broken until they learn about the aromantic and asexual spectrums. And even then, many feel a sense of grief over not getting to experience the type of life that society taught them they should want to have. But the heart of a rom-com, it's really a wish fulfillment story where two characters meet and their connection allows them to have a happily ever after. And those desires for human connection and for connection are human connection and for happiness are nearly universal. And we believe that romance isn't required for that to happen. So we want to create a story where a new platonic relationship is just as valuable, just as coveted and exciting and fulfilling as a romantic relationship. All right, Catherine, are you able to get those slides back up? If not, I can probably pull them up from my end.
Just one more second.
All right, just one more second. I'll go through the chat a little bit more here to see who else we have joining. Got the Airways meetup in Virginia. And yeah, I think that yeah, we got people from Maryland. We got some of my own friends in here. And again, if you have any questions in here, feel free to pop them in the chat at any point about the film. So Catherine, would you like me to pull up the slides from my end?
Yeah, go for it. I'll be right back.
All right. We all seeing the slides all right? Okay. So, yeah, so our title slide here depicts our Iceland landscape and was designed by our producer, Catherine. And so, okay, so we think that people on the aromantic and asexual spectrums deserve a rom-com too. So a rom-com is going to be about a 15-minute long short film. We have a budget of $20,000 and we're planning to shoot this film in January 2025, coming up in a few months here. Our logline is, while stranded in a small Icelandic town during a winter storm, a nosy woman develops a squish, which is a platonic crush, on the badass aloof owner of a found GoPro, who starts to open up once they discover that they're both on the asexual and aromantic spectrums. So diving into that story a little bit more. So we start the film at a travel center cafeteria in the small Icelandic town of Vik, and is packed with tourists who are stranded by a winter storm that's closed down the roads. And we have one of our main characters, Merida, who is looking for the owner of a GoPro that she and her friends found on a glacier near Jökulsárlón. And then they find Parker, who is looking just as intimidatingly cool as they did in their GoPro videos. And Brandon and Trey, her friends, force her to go talk with this person that she just would not shut up about in the car. But initially, Parker seems kind of aloof and uninterested. But then the rest of the film talks about Parker's and Merida's story, and they explore the themes of isolation and community, bravery and fear, and how we can seem so different on the outside from how we feel on the inside. Taking a closer look at these characters, Parker, pronouns they, them, has a plethora of videos showcasing their solo travel adventures and creative art projects, but their apparent boldness masks their struggle to navigate this loud world full of people and their confusing relationships. Merida, she, her, is a mechanical engineer who is normally a confident and socially adept person, but her squish on Parker has her making a complete fool of herself in front of her friends. And then her friends Brandon and Trey, they work with Merida, and they're a couple, and they're happy to have Merida tag along in their vacation as long as she puts up with their public displays of affection and merciless teasing. So my vision for this film, so pulling up to this notes. Yeah. So my vision for this film, I'm imagining this cozy platonic meet cute against this stark backdrop of the winter storm in Iceland. And there are a lot of people who teens and adults alike who are desperately seeking these types of stories and don't get to see themselves on screen very often. And really, we need a lot more of these stories because the aromantic and asexual spectrums are so vast and varied and intersectional. So we hope to scratch the surface of getting that representation with A-Romcom's Parker and Merida. And as we mentioned before, From the Heart Productions is our nonprofit fiscal sponsor, which means that any contributions to the film are actually tax deductible charitable donations. So now let me pull up just one moment as I pull up the our Seed&Spark campaign page. Got to switch over here. All right. Okay. Yeah, so on our Seed&Spark campaign page, our goal with this campaign is to raise at least $10,000. You may recall the total budget is $20,000. We're working on getting that other $10,000 from grants and strategic partners like the Maryland State Arts Council. We just got a grant from them. So for this campaign, we're working on raising at least $10,000. We've got the Make a Pledge button over here. And if you're not sure after going through all the information on this page exactly how much you want to pledge or or you just want to get email updates, you can click the follow button and then you'll get email updates. And if later you change your mind about how much you want to pledge, is not set in stone until the end of the campaign. So you can always increase or decrease your amounts later. But we have a bunch of incentives at different tier levels. So I'll go through just a few of them. For $10, we will send you a link to our YouTube premiere once the film is complete, and you'll get to watch it in the premiere with our team and other viewers in the chat and get kind of a little bit of a community together online to watch the finished film together. And for $25, we have a special Aromcom Mad Libs game. And so I'll ask you to give me a series of words and phrases, and then I'm going to put them into a short scene from a rom-com and perform it in a little video skit for you. And then you can share that on social media if you'd like. And then each of these incentives come with the incentive levels above them as well. Skipping down to the $100 level, that gets you an on-screen thank you credit in the film. A few of these incentives have limited numbers available, like the $200 Haunted Manor Ghost Tour. We have a queer-friendly haunted manor in Upper Marlboro, Maryland, and it does say sold out at the moment. That's just a technical glitch that I'll have to talk with Seed&Spark when they're back online tomorrow. But there are a few left of this tier. And $300, you can tell us a small prop, word, or phrase that you want to have in the film, and we'll stick it in there as long as it's feasible to do that. And yeah, $1,000, there's an associate producer credit for the film, and $2,000 an executive producer credit. And if you know any of any organizations or foundations or anybody who might be willing to contribute at those higher levels, let us know, and we can get that worked out with them. But no contribution is too small. And so if you got $1, that's going to help out too. That gets us $1 closer to our goal. So scrolling back up to the top of the page. Oh, so the story tab is the main tab you'll go to when you get to this page. So it tells you all about the story. You got the team tab, tells you all about our different team members and our cast members. And then the updates tab gives you updates on the campaign. But again, if you click that follow button, you'll get those updates sent right to your email inbox. All right, so let's take a break here for some questions, and then we will go back into the presentation in a moment. So any questions that you have so far, feel free to put those in the chat. If not, Catherine will probably just ask me some questions that she has on standby here.
So can you remind us again of the projected timeline for release?
For release, yeah, that's a good question. I didn't actually say that. So we're filming in January, and then I'm going to be the editor on the film. So we will be, mainly me, will be editing this film and hoping to have it finished by next June so that we can release it during Pride Month and have probably at least one person in-person screening in the DC area, and then we'll have that YouTube premiere next June if all goes well, and as well as putting it into a few festivals.
And Maddie dropped our Seed&Spark in the chat, so if you want to go check it out and have that to remember, that's there as well.
Oh yes, I was going to post that at the beginning and then forgot to do that. Thank you, Maddie.
So what makes a relationship platonic rather than romantic, and what is the imagined relationship after the movie? So I guess that's kind of spoilers for our movie. I don't want to give away the ending on that, but I think we have some people in the chat who can kind of help break down platonic versus romantic on that.
Yeah, but in general, both the characters are on the aromantic and asexual spectrums, and at the very beginning of the film, Merida, she has kind of this platonic crush on Parker just based on all the video footage that she was looking through on their GoPro. So it's and so she just really wants to be this person's friend. But Parker initially seems kind of aloof and uninterested, but they start to connect once they realize that they're both on the aromantic and asexual spectrums. So Catherine, are you able to get the slides back up, or should I go?
I am. I think we've got one more question.
Okay.
And that would be, are there still possible openings for extras in the film, and could that be an incentive for some level of contribution of funding? If you want to be an extra as the producer, I say, come on down. We need, I think, what did we talk about at one point? Like 15 to 40 people to come be on set. So if you have any interest in that, message us on the Aromcom Instagram, and we will see if we can do that, because not everyone here is from our area to be able to be a part of that, but we would love to have part of either a community or allies to come be a part of this film. And then
Yeah.
also, Katrina, what inspired you to make the film?
Sure. So I myself went on a trip to Iceland back in 2018, where I really did lose my GoPro on a glacier in Iceland and then drive through this blizzard and then get stuck in Vik because they closed the roads. And then it was so this was back in early 2018. So a few years later, I was part of this script writing workshop with a group of hobby filmmakers. And we were just practicing writing scripts and giving each other different genres to write scripts about. And they gave me the genres of rom-com, travel, and also a detective story. And so I decided to kind of combine all those genres. So Merida is kind of playing detective a bit, trying to figure out who this GoPro belongs to. And then the rom-com and travel, of course, we got the Iceland landscape. And then I just used my own story there for kind of the logistics of the plot, but then turned it into this platonic meet cute because I am interested in creating more representation for the aromantic and asexual spectrums. And so when I wrote this script, it wasn't something that was meant to actually be filmed, but over the next couple of years, I kept kind of having in the back of the mind, but well, what if I did try to make this film? And so then I found a team to work with me, and we've been working to make this film a reality. All right, so let's go back into our.
We'll catch your other questions later. I see you, Ambry and Carrie. I'll get those too.
Yes, we will get more questions later. All right, so we know that there are a whole lot of people who want to see films like this get made. There was actually a report from UCLA's Center for Scholars and Storytellers last October, where over half of the adolescents in the US that they surveyed expressed a desire to have more content centered around friendships and platonic relationships. And actually 39% specifically said they wanted to see more aromantic and asexual characters on screen. So we know there's a lot of demand for content like that. And we are excited to kind of help fill that hole that's been existing. So I believe the next slide is introducing myself a little bit and my background. So I come from a science storytelling background. I actually used to be the lead video producer for the Hubble Space Telescope, and I made a whole YouTube documentary about queer experiences in astronomy that aired on Democracy Now! I've also been heavily involved in community theater as a director, producer, choreographer, and performer. And I've been the editor on a few short films over the past couple of years. And so I'm really excited to bring all those skills and experience together to direct my first narrative film. And yeah, if you have any more questions about my background specifically, feel free to ask and I can answer them at the end. And we'll also have next our producer introduce herself, Catherine.
Hi, I'm Catherine. I am a producer and director. I went to school in SCAD in Georgia, and I got to do a lot of great work in like narrative and documentary and commercial. And I came back up here to the Northern Virginia, DC area since then. And I've been working in branded and documentary, but my most favorite is narrative and LGBTQIA and asexual films specifically are very close to my heart. I made a short film called Cupcake in 2020, and I met Katrina at a Women in Film and Video project in 2022, I think. And we worked together on that. And so she had like fate reached out to me. It's like, would you be interested in being a part of this? Like, absolutely. This is something that we don't have in media. Even still, I think a lot of asexual and aromantic content is kind of introductory in teaching us what those ideas are and just getting a little bit into lived experience. And I'm so excited about this film because this is a very personal story, but it's presenting something unique. And we are doing a lot of cool stuff to use a genre that is not what this film is about to create the story and share this idea of what platonic and friendship and non-romantic relationships look like.
And oh, that's a good question. Just real quick, can people watch Cupcake anywhere?
Yes, I will at the very end drop a link into Cupcake
Okay.
so you can watch it.
All right. Maddie, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi everyone.
My name's Maddie Becker. I come from film studies background, so sort of studying like a lot of the composition and visual structures that go into cinematic storytelling in college. And then post-college got into a lot of producing actually. And so Katrina and I met that way. We collaborated on a film that I produced a couple of years ago that was in the horror genre. So it's fun to be kind of exploring a new genre with Katrina. But yeah, I've always been really fascinated by visual language and composition and how that can contribute with like mise en scène and all the stuff that you kind of like put into the frame to communicate larger ideas about the film in general, but specifically about like power and structures of viewership and ownership and desire. So I've, in the past couple of years, transitioned into photography and videography work and have shot everything from weddings to short films and kind of experimental content, as I'm very interested in kind of experimenting with the camera and visual forms. And I've been really, really excited to work with Katrina on this film because kind of like Catherine and Katrina have been talking about, it's a rom-com, so it's a genre film, but it's also not a rom-com. And thinking about how we want to bring new visual language to this space that people will immediately sort of recognize as a rom-com, and how to kind of unsettle that genre for folks and create different expectations around the goals of the film, I think presents a really interesting visual challenge and is something that we've really, really been enjoying working together. So yeah, great to meet you all and excited to work with everyone here as well.
All right. We have a couple of our actors with us. Maddie, can we unmute Elena? Are you able to
Yes.
find her?
Hello.
We can hear you.
Great. Hi, everybody. My name's Elena Anderson. I'm playing Merida in a rom-com. I am an actor and a voice actor based in the DC area. And I'm very excited to be a part of this production. I'm going to have that's a shorter introduction than the other folks that are involved, because I've been involved for a shorter amount of time, but I'm really excited to dive into kind of rehearsals and performances pretty soon. So, yeah.
Thanks, Elena. And then we also have our actor for Parker, Ziaire. There we go.
Hello?
Yep, we can hear you.
Hi, my name is Ziaire and I play Parker in a rom-com. I'm from the like DMV area. I'm super excited to be a part of this film because like when I first saw it, the role that I ended up getting, thank the Lord, I had never really played a role like it before. And as it's been mentioned quite a few times, the whole aromantic and asexual spectrum of the LGBTQIA plus community, I don't feel like has been represented in media as much as some of the like more quote regular relationships we see. So I'm super, super excited to be playing something that's, you know, different. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everybody. All right. So next, Maddie was going to talk to us about the visual approach for our film. Go ahead.
Yeah. So building off some of the stuff I talked about in my introduction, this is a rom-com, but it's also not a rom-com. So already there's kind of this like interesting tension there because we want the film to connect with people. So we want to kind of borrow from elements that are recognizable from rom-coms, but we also kind of want to invent this new visual language and have people not have the same expectations for love or sort of like intimacy in the traditional sense that we expect from traditional rom-coms. So when Katrina and I were thinking about like, what does this look like in an actual film? Like if we translate this into reality, we kind of looked to some like offbeat rom-coms, some of which are pictured here. So films like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, The Worst Person in the World, this film that came out in the past year called Fallen Leaves. These are all films where there is a single relationship that is centered in the film, but there's something a little bit different going on. And you're kind of along for the ride with the filmmakers trying to figure out like what is really the goal here and like what's happening here. I think like traditional rom-coms, there's a very clear expectation. There's the will they, won't they aspect. But these films, I think, kind of unsettle that, and the backdrop is different, or it's just like sort of the composition of the characters is a bit different. So that was sort of the starting point that we took for coming up with some of the visuals for the film. And so we want to do things that are recognizable. We want like close-ups and sort of the soft focus that is seen in a lot of rom-coms. We want to show like the stolen glances, the recognition of the characters' black ace rings that they both wear. So the kind of private moments that you see in a lot of rom-coms where you're kind of pulled into a character's perspective, and those small things kind of add up to build up anticipation around these two characters' connections. But one of the things that we want to do that I think is a little bit different is we're going to have a lot of perspective shifts. So it's not a single character who is kind of grounding us in either like a woman or a man's perspective, but we're going to have these perspectives shift and to kind of ground us in the different characters and kind of get away from like the sort of heteronormative man looks at woman, woman looks at man. And I think that will kind of already unsettle the genre quite a bit, to be pulled between these two different characters and to be kind of unsure about like what position we are in ourselves as viewers. And then just to dive into these photos a little bit, there's obviously like the winter backdrop of Iceland and where they're traveling. And so there's kind of this like bleakness and winteriness to the backdrop. So we want to bring in warmth with the colors and with the framing. So visually, we want this kind of like wintry but warm tone. And hopefully that will give it sort of a quirkiness and this hopefulness despite sort of the difficulty of connecting in the space. And so, yeah, those are some of the things we've thought about here and hoping to communicate kind of a quirky, vulnerable, hopeful atmosphere with the film.
Thanks, Maddie. And then Catherine is going to talk a little bit more about our budget.
Yes, so we have a budget set at approximately, I believe, 20,000 right now. We are hoping to see if there's anything we can do to make it a little lower, but at this point, everything is needed. A lot of what we have to do is we have to create Iceland in the Maryland area, not a one-to-one, but there's tips, there's tricks and things we have to do that. We're going to pick our locations very carefully and look a lot and feel like a lot like Iceland. We are going to be creating signs and cups and mugs and things that look like they're shopping to feel like it's Iceland. And then we have to be able to rent our gear to be able to film it. Everything else is going towards paying our crew and feeding our crew, which I think is really important and not often done, unfortunately, in short films, but people with really specialized and hard to learn skills are going to be helping us bring this to life, and we want to be able to make sure that we are compensating them fairly and making sure they don't starve when they're out in the cold doing with us, helping us to create this.
Great, thank you so much. All right, so our closing slide here has got our link tree. And I'll post this in the chat too. Here, just one second. Make sure I'm sending that to everybody. Okay. Yeah, so we got our link tree that's got links to all of our links. It's got links to our Seed&Spark page. It's got links to our social media. There's also a resource guide on there, like an aromantic and asexual resource guide that talks about some other great representation in media. And it's got all of our individual websites on there as well. And then, yeah, so you can follow us on social media, on Instagram. Instagram is where we're mostly at, but we cross post to Facebook as well at Aromcom Film. And then on YouTube, we've got our pitch video and sometimes post other videos there as well. So, so Carole, I believe you have a few closing words for us.
Wonderful. Thank you for unmuting me. I just want to say that this team, between Katrina, Catherine, Madeleine, everybody here on this call, they're completely, and everybody else part of the team, they're completely committed. Every little thing I tell them to do, or they come on their own, they just are so committed. They make, they may have taken like 6 weeks to do that deck for you. They've mapped out everything so perfectly. And right now they're just in the crust of raising this money right now so they can go and make this film for you, which I think is going to be one of many films that they make as a team. So this is going to be the spark that lights the fire to create more content like this. And I think no donations too small. I was just really asked that everybody on the call here just give something, whatever you can. We're going to give you social media links as well. And if you can go on and then please promote this on your social media or email us people that we would like to send the deck to or help be a part of the community and help build the tribe, because this is a wonderful film for a very inexpensive price. I know it's going to win awards. I know it's going to be launched on YouTube, so we'll promote it on our YouTube, but I do feel that it will be picked up and win at festivals, and you will all be joined together with this great community to help support this film. So please, please donate. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carole. All right, let's answer more questions. So there were a couple from before, and then anyone else who has any questions, please post them in the chat. Or if you really want to say them on camera, put your hand up and we can probably get you unmuted to ask that. But go ahead and ask in the chat. And Catherine, what were some of the questions that we missed earlier?
So earlier we had, what's part of the film that makes your inner child really happy? How would they feel seeing this film? I like that question.
I mean, just seeing this really cute friendship form that's kind of portrayed as just as exciting as a romantic relationship, I think would have been exciting to watch as a child, and just knowing that there are other options in life, other pathways forward to have human connection and happiness. I think that would have been, yeah, that would have been nice to see as a child. I don't know, Catherine, do you have any answer to that as well, or Maddie?
I just think on my sort of journey of figuring out I was ace, it was very hard to not see romantic things in the world, or like sexual attraction be a key part of romantic relationships, and feeling like I was broken. So I think that seeing a movie where that is as prioritized and is like the whole point is a friendship and how people treat that as equally to a romantic or sexual relationship, I think would be very, like, I wouldn't feel as alone as I did when I was younger.
Yeah. All right, what was the...
And I feel like this is a Maddie and a Katrina question, is, will you be using the existing GoPro footage in the film?
We'll be using at least some of it, because I have GoPro footage that we can put in for Parker's GoPro footage of being on various adventures, like dog sledding and snorkeling through this little crevice in Iceland that's kind of between the North Atlantic and Eurasian plate boundaries. Yeah, so I have some GoPro footage that will be standing in for Parker's GoPro footage.
And then another question, or just Sean said something really nice, but Sean said, I'd like to see this film be made and to see more representation. And thank you for pledging.
Oh, thanks, Sean.
Did anyone else have any more questions at the moment?
Or any comments?
Or any comments, yes.
So Matt here is saying, it seems like internet celebrity also plays a factor in the relationship. Do you see this film exploring the parasocial that happens between celebrity and fan? I guess a little bit. I mean, Merida wasn't a fan for too long. It's only been a few hours that she's been looking through these video clips that she found on Parker's GoPro. but yeah, it kind of explores the difference between how somebody seems on camera versus what they're going through in real life. And luckily Merida likes both versions of Parker. So yeah, I guess I haven't really thought about it in that way exactly, but yeah,
I would also add in like the themes of like perception of reality. It may not be directly parasocial, but it's like, what do you see and what to present and what are people's like inner world, and feeling both of those as a person. Oh, and then we had a question about intended age of the characters.
So the intended age of the characters, they're not specifically mentioned what age they are, but they're intended to be kind of mid to upper 20s. They're so adults, they have careers. So it's not like it's not just a story about teenagers. It's showing how we're still kind of exploring things in our adult life and figuring out how to have relationships and how to connect with people well into our adulthood.
Which is also exciting because I feel like the asexual aromantic content we have is very teen geared. So it's like, yes, people in our 20s and older. And then we had David ask, do you have a list of film festivals that you would like to get this movie entered in the future, or do you want to mention those possibilities?
So I don't have a specific list yet, but there's the Out at the Movies Festival. I know that their festival in North Carolina is in a couple of weeks. So by the time next year rolls around, we should have a finished film, and that might be a good place to put it. Probably some local to DC area festivals, like the Prince George's County where I live has a festival. So try to get into some local ones, probably some queer festivals.
Outfest is one we were thinking a lot about.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts?
Kitty says here that she'll use the links to keep updated. So thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for the love in the chat. Very exciting.
And I'll also, yeah, so this has been recorded. We'll send the video recording to everyone, and I'll also send an email to everybody who registered, just giving those links again for people and our social media. But yeah, I'm excited to see you all on Instagram or Facebook or wherever you're at, and hope that we can keep in touch. Yes, Ziaire says if you can get the word out to friends, family, anyone who might be interested, that will be greatly appreciated. Are there Black women ace representation or older aces in the movie? So our two characters, we have Parker, who is non-binary and Black, and then Merida is a woman and white, and they're both kind of in their mid to upper 20s. And if a rom-com goes really well, I personally keep having in the back of my mind that I'd love to write a sequel where we can kind of explore their relationship and how various aspects of their identity kind of impact their friendship. And so I'd love to keep writing stories like this.
Yeah, entertainment likes to think that you stop existing after your 30s.
Right. We can keep doing a whole series of sequels well into their 40s. That would be cool. That'd be a long time to be doing these films.
Same, I know. Somebody had mentioned there's not much queer representation past 40. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Again,
seniors, I know.
Keep in mind for a possible sequel for sure. Maybe they can meet some older characters in their community.
I know this is not I don't want to get into a tangent with Katrina's project, but yeah, there's a lot of I think that media is one of the biggest things people can do for representation, and there's a whole sort of history about how queer media and television, and some of it's troubled, some of it's not, but how that has been presented to society and made people learn about these identities and become aware with them and how it changed. So I think that this is, in terms of like asexual, aromantic people, this kind of media is the first step, because after we get awareness out, it can become part of the conversation, and then other people can learn, and like the community can grow.
Yeah, and really, as I was saying before, we need a whole lot more stories. Like, this is one 15-minute film with 4 characters, 2 main characters. I mean, there's only so much representation we can have in one film. And so, yeah, I would love to see a whole lot more films and TV shows and books, and so that we can get the representation as well for Latin American people, First Nations people. So yes,
I see all my volunteers out here. Thank you. Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we love A-Stad.
And A-Stad has also contributed to this film. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, A-Stad.
Yeah, I just want to, seeing everyone here, it's really exciting to start to see who this film is for, you know, besides ourselves, and get to reach people and connect with them. And we're really happy to have you here and come learn about our film and be a part of the journey. And we're so excited to get to share this with you.
Yeah, so it seems like the questions are kind of dying down now, but if you have any more questions, feel free to reach out on Instagram or through our Seed&Spark page. I'll post the links one more time. Just ignore well, I'll delete the hi everyone beginning because we don't need to say hi again. And yeah, thank you all so much for joining us, and we'll go ahead and end this now. But yeah, we'll follow up with an email and the recording, and hope to talk with you all again soon. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.